Hi, everybody. Welcome to Collector Conversation. I am your host, Larry Tun. As you can see, I finally got some lighting in the room. Still working on art, but first I need to get some lighting. But let me bring in my guests. So first, I have Jason D'Ambrosio. He is probably your second favorite X-Men collector. And next, I have James Siegel. He is the creator of the famous sketchbook show, as well as this Collector's Conversation show.
Hey, Larry, how are you, man?
Doing all right, sir. And then I have Eranga. He is our resident artist and crossdresser. And and we have Mikail. Mikail. He's a regular guest on CAF. Everybody knows him. And he also cosplays. Fish Benz, he was planning on being here, but he called in sick. He's sick from all those deals he gave last week. So, anyways, this is our collective conversation. Obviously, we have we plan on 6 people, but we have 5 people, which is a little more than the usual. And this is our holiday special. So, hope everybody enjoys today's show. We'll go on to the first topic, which is about the pro amateur dueling dealers. So,
subtopic, Larry. Who is the most favorite X-Men collector? Jason's number 2.
It's obviously me, and you're number 3.
I'll take it.
All right. So, first topic is reactions to the pro amateur dueling dealers. So, last week we saw Anthony get double teamed by Fish and Jason. Fish won the match in overtime by falling on his sword and giving away art and taking losses. I mean, I'm sad I missed that show last week. Nick Barucci got a good deal on that Fantastic Four, and I wish I got on that deal, but that was Fish was taking some losses on that dueling dealers. So I wish I was there, and for everybody who is watching, I hope you are happy with some of those deals that Fish was giving, and also Jason was giving some deals as well too. So, but overall, I thought there was a different vibe from the regular dueling dealers with Mike Berkey and Anthony, and 4 of us here have actually hosted a dueling dealers. I think, like Mikail, you've hosted one that had some really nice pieces in there. I think me and Eranga are the only ones who haven't done a dueling dealers in this panel. But James, we'll start with you. What is your reaction to that dueling dealers last week with Anthony?
A couple things. First, looking at your collection, we need to apply the peer pressure to get you to do a damn dueling dealers already. Break out those FedEx boxes. Let's get some art out there, Larry. So if you're in the chat and you want to see Larry on a future amateur dueling dealer, just kind of speak up now, and he has to go with the will of the people. But to answer your original question before peer pressure, I bought a piece from both Jason and both Fish, right? So the addiction continues, and one of the pieces I got from Fish, I didn't think he'd take the deal, so I apologize a little bit later because it was slightly at a loss. But my overall reaction, man, those are fun. Audience loves to see them. The art is typically a higher quality or just atypical because a lot of the dealers that we see have trends, and so it breaks the trend, it breaks the vibe, involves the community. So I wish everything was amateur, take it as you will, or amateur pro. But anyway, I did enjoy the episode. I thought Jason, Fish, your memes were killer.
Jason, how much work did you put into those memes?
We put a little. We spent some time with it. Fish and I actually spent a couple hours by his house on a green screen doing it, and then Bill actually cleans them up and fixes them. But that's half the fun of it, right? Like I guess I have a bit of a different perspective, right? I was part of it. Doing the show is fun. Selling the art's great, right? Like I sold a few pieces. That money's going right back out into other art. But just doing the memes and having a good time and messing around is all the fun for me. I would do it all the time if I could, but unfortunately I don't have that much art to sell.
did you have to take a day off work to work on this?
No, I didn't. I snuck out for a couple hours. Like I said, it was really only a couple hours. And Fish did most of the editing, setup, so on and so forth. So I was really just a talent lair, so it wasn't that hard for me. And we kind of came to Fish and I. James, I think, jokes that we think with the same brain sometimes. I think that was your line, right? So we came up with the ideas rather quickly for the meme, so it wasn't too much work from a time standpoint.
Okay, so you plan on doing this a couple more times, right?
When I got to trim, this is the best way to do it for me because it's fun, right? It's fun as opposed to just posting somewhere or whatever and having to deal with it. But I like it. I think more people should do it. I encourage people all the time when they ask me about how to sell stuff to go on. If you're reasonable and you're negotiable, the audience eats it up. I mean, you guys saw Fish was very negotiable. I mean, he almost sold everything out and at fantastic prices. And the more of us that get involved,
Fish was in the Christmas spirit. Yeah.
Hanukkah spirit. Yeah.
The Hanukkah spirit. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
He had all the holiday spirits for what he was doing.
I'll tell you, Bill's production crew is pretty decent. Or the memes I've done a couple times come over pretty unfinished, and I was kind of surprised with his output and his polishing up. So if anyone wants to jump on a future amateur show, don't realize you don't have to put. I mean, you have to put a little bit of work and thought, but it ain't probably as much as you think. Because Bill earns his very reasonable and small chunk by allowing us to do it. And one time I did it right before a CAF Live, because CAF Live is fantastic, but we know percentage of art that gets sold on CAF Live. So have the opportunity to grab a captured audience, have a little fun with it, make some deals as you go, and get people in the spirit. You could be a little bit more successful if you want to take that leap.
Okay, Mikail, you're also you've done at least one. You've done what? At least one, right?
I've done two.
Oh, you've done two. So
the first one was versus Jason.
Oh,
you smoked?
Yep.
It wasn't even a close.
I was giving him a hard time because he's come so far in meme making. The first one, I think Bill had to take a bunch of still photographs, and he did the claw winding and whatnot. So to James's point, Bill will go 110% to produce something. But this time I saw, much more of the way I do it, which is the effort in the show is 90% thinking about it beforehand. You're thinking about what pieces you can pull, and you're thinking about kind of memes that you'd like to create. And once you have that in your head, it just takes an afternoon to get it all together and film it. So I missed the end of the show, but it was like the good old days of Dueling Dealers where there was a lot of action at the end. And I was shocked when I saw what the final totals were. And I still intend to go back. I need to go and catch the last 15 minutes where I think all the deal making really happened. But, that's the part of the show that I think everybody always enjoyed and gravitated towards. And it was good to see it make a comeback. And I think we're kind of starting to hit on this idea that we like to see amateurs doing it because you see artwork that you're not going to see. And I noticed today I listed a piece for sale, and so I randomly meandered over to the CAF members classified section. And there are people out there with 90 pieces of art for sale in their galleries and not in the dealer side. And I think it would be super beneficial, for anyone if they could pull, 15 to 20 pieces to do an amateur dueling dealers first. And then, if whatever doesn't sell, put it on the site after that. But you're just going to get a more engaged, enthusiastic audience for that first round.
Yeah. Do we want to tackle Alberto's question?
What's he saying?
Yeah, just I think from my pricing philosophies and what I've
James,
seen on the Dueling
this is
Dealer.
Larry's show. What are you doing, man? This isn't the sketchbook show.
It's all right. Having somebody manage the comments.
Let me know when I can talk next, Eranga.
It's all right. It was sorry. Who was answering the question? I mean, I think that's a great question. I'm glad. James highlighted it. I actually thought Bill did, but wait a minute, Bill's not here. How did he highlight that? So
I actually highlighted it, Larry. To be honest with you.
Okay. All right. So we got three. We got three coaches. We got three GMs here.
Lots of chefs.
Do you want me to field the question? I mean, I was the one that priced the art for this last week, but
well, let's listen to you and how you and Fish did it. I mean, I don't know if you knew how Fish did it, but
yeah, no, we talked about it, and I think every time, like James and I did a tag team one time too, and we talked about each other's prices beforehand. Alberta, I don't think that it's priced high to get expectations of discounts. I think we're amateurs, right? So we're just really making it up as we go along, and we know how negotiable we can be. And some pieces there's more negotiability on it, and some there isn't, right? I think that's how I look at it. James, I don't know if you mirror that or what what your pricing philosophy is or how you think of it.
Sure. Am I okay, Eranga? I'm just kidding.
I don't know. It's like
no, I know. I agree. But so now just real quick, a lot of it I think comes down to we price initially what we think is fair market for the most part, but just like buyers get caught up in the moment, sellers get caught up in the moment, especially when you're starting multiple pieces and starting to sell multiple pieces. So you're looking at totals add up, so you're more susceptible to lower prices, maybe beyond what you would do on an individual calf posting, because you're just part of the moment as well. So not only does it create a buying environment, it creates a selling environment for the people jumping on there and just kind of getting caught up and, like saying deal when somebody makes an offer.
I mean, I haven't done this, but I imagine the whole thought process is you have a price range in terms of what you're looking for each piece. I mean, the low end and also where you're regularly going to price it. So, but I imagine once you get into the recap or the overtime, you probably might even go below your low end. So I think probably Fish went below his low end and probably went into the zone where he was getting uncomfortable, but he did it to close the deal. So okay. Put the post on the bottom, I see. Okay.
Eranga,
when I price for this show, I want to sell it. I want it. It's stuff that I pulled. You put a price on it. I want it. I want it to move. So. I think like Fish, I usually price at pretty much my break even. We have some expenses to do the show. You build that in, and if you get it, that's the ideal. But in this market, I think if you sell a piece and you lose 5 to 10% on it, but you've enjoyed it for a couple of years, that's kind of a fair exchange for everyone, it seems. Sorry, Eranga.
no, we're just trying to do the fist bump, man. Team Mario fist bump.
All right, Eranga, what are your thoughts on dueling?
I have no original thoughts, but the thoughts have all been drained. No, I mean really, it's pretty much the same stuff that people in the audience have mentioned and you guys. To be fair to Anthony and Berkey, they've got to do it weekly, running through a bunch of stuff. So they've got to find things to sell, et cetera, et cetera. I know we're not in this to be fair to them, but yes, it can get, the quality can vary when you have to go through, what is it, 100 shows or whatever. So I really look forward to the amateur stuff because, I know there's going to be things I haven't seen floating around or that have changed hands 3 or 4 times in the last year or 2 years, etc. But let me put it this way. It's almost appointment viewing for me. At a time when you can't really afford to watch every show or whatever, the amateur stuff is definitely appointment viewing.
I think Eranga versus Larry should be on the calendar.
It's gonna be nothing, man. I'm just gonna have a bunch of no. I don't want to go up against Larry's FedEx box. No thanks.
He'll be offering head sketches at the end of it.
yeah, exactly. I'll be offering stick figures,
mountains and dragons.
How about this? I'll be taking stuff off the walls because I'm getting angry and competitive.
Well, that's the other thing is we're all collectors, and a part of that is, you know, we like to win. You like to win at auction. You like to win the piece that you're after. And I think adding the competition element in creates a little bit of fire and maybe would push you to make a decision or accept a price that you might not otherwise. And that's, you know, fun for the audience.
So, quick question to all you guys that have been on the amateur shows. I'm assuming you start out with you have a spreadsheet or like notes that say, hey, here's my beginning ask, here's like a mid, and here's like my rock bottom, and then below rock bottom you have what your cost is. I'm sure like there's some of that going in. How quickly does that shit disappear when it gets down to, oh, you're only separated by $500?
Pretty quickly. As far as like, I mean, there's a rock bottom. I won't go, you know, below rock bottom, but getting to that point, like I said, the psychology of being part of the selling atmosphere. You know, somebody will, you know, an Alberto or a Jason will throw a low ball offer, and you'll kind of consider it.
So when you're talking rock bottom before the show, right? That rock bottom kind of changes apparently in the heat of the moment. But when you're talking rock bottom before the show, are you willing to set your rock bottom at a loss?
So, Eli, I guess I don't do a rock bottom. What I do is I set my initial price, then I do my recap price, and then I note my cost there, right? So I know where I am if I get caught up in the moment. So I don't really have a rock bottom set beforehand, but I do. That's how I set it up. I set up my initial ask, then, you know, where I'm going to go in the recap as far as a discount initially, and then keep that value there. Me, I don't know that I've ever sold at a loss personally, but I know Fish sold multiple pieces at a loss. I think that depends on your philosophy and how you look at it, right? If you sell a few pieces at a win and then you sell one at a loss and you look at it overall, then it's not a bad taste, right? I guess is how I would look at it from that standpoint. You know, I can't speak for these other guys, but that's
I've done
how
exactly the same, Jason. Like if I sold a piece and made like $100 on it, I'll easily sell another piece at a $50 loss and just take it from that first sale. That absolutely is the way my mind would work.
I think
And Marcus asked a good question too about whether the pros or the amateurs care about winning more.
Who asked that question? Oh,
Marcus.
that's a good question.
I guess that's who you're matched up with.
I think it's fun to whip Anthony into a winning frenzy, right?
Get him to sell stuff at a loss.
So I guess, should there be a prize at the end? Should there be like a small bet? Let the winner gets something.
Yes.
You know, to spice it up, should that probably be there?
Up the ante.
If I was going against you guys, I would do something like that.
Like diapers at cons.
All right.
Or there should just be a running plaque, right? At CAF HQ.
Yeah.
Bragging rights.
Hey, and I know like we talked a lot about like Fish taking a loss. Fish actually piped up with his philosophy in the chat. So
did he?
Yeah, he did. And you know, nobody needs to feel sorry for Fish. I mean,
the dude's a damn treasure.
Very well, another piece.
Yeah, the next day he picks up an Art Adams trading card art. That was awesome.
Hanging on an old lady's wall for $15 and a pie.
You need to feel sorry for his kids because they are not getting new jackets.
All
right. So I think we're done here with this topic. And Jason, you know, good luck in your next match with Anthony because he will put a bet. That guy he's a gambler, so I want to hear what the ante is next time you go on a pro-am match with him.
I'm only coming out of retirement if you come, Larry. That's it. I'm not doing it again.
All right. So our next topic, we are going to talk about OAX because you can't stop hearing about it. You hear about it every show. So all of us are going, everybody here, people who never fly out of their state are coming to Florida. I mean, we get to see Alberto. I don't think Alberto ever shows up anywhere other than Northern California. So we get to meet Alberto and other collectors who never come out to Heroes or New York or those other or San Diego. So hopefully we get to meet some other collectors. So and Bill is talking about the show, and this has a different feel from all the other shows. It feels different from the Fan Expos. It feels different from the New York Comic Cons or the Reed shows. And I don't think we're ready yet to call it like a US based Lake Como. We have to have one show first. But what are your thoughts about OAX, Jason?
I'm excited. I'm really excited. Like the difference, like I love when we all go to Heroes, right, and hang out. But this is just ours, right? This is just us. This is nothing but like I just feel so connected to this. And obviously I want to see all you guys and all the people in the chat and the people I haven't met before. Like I'm more excited for the people than the art, right? I'm more excited for that than anything else. So that's my thoughts on it. And I can't wait for it to get here.
What are your thoughts, Mikail?
Likewise, I've spent all my money already, so I'm not even expecting to go there and pick up anything. I've got a couple commissions lined up to pick up, and I mentioned to a few people that I did a deal for like a Grail level kind of page that I'll be picking up at the con, so that'll be exciting.
Grail level.
But yeah, other than that, I'm not even really I haven't even thought about bringing stuff to sell per se, even though I'm at one of the collector tables. It's more just to see everyone and to have that opportunity to do that without all that extraneous traffic and noise that you get at other cons. I think the most similar, what I haven't been to Como, but I'd be hoping for at least a hero style feel where it's a wider alley and a more relaxed environment, and people aren't rushing around, because there will be cool stuff, but I don't think you're going to have to rush anywhere to get it. I don't think you have to run around to find it. You can take your time, talk to the artists, maybe make some connections that then you can build on going forward. So it's just that social aspect of it that is really appealing.
So Mikail, you're picking up a Grail next month at this con. Everybody's going to want to see it.
And I look forward to showing people, right? That's again,
okay.
The fun of it. I think it's something that people will enjoy seeing. It's I'm super excited about it.
But so you're not saving any money for the auction? Are you going to go to the auction? Are you scared to go to the auction?
I'll you get enough drinks into me, and who knows what might happen at the auction. But at the moment,
I think we're drunk at Larry, the plan is drunk at the auction, so you're involved with that too. Be aware.
It'll just be like Mikail standing there, just like a statue with a paddle up. Come get
next morning, right? I'll leave quietly in the morning. But I did think about that. I'm super excited to see some of the pieces that like the Adam Hughes piece that he's creating for the auction and stuff. But I'm at the point in my collecting where I'm like super happy with my collection, and I have a lot of the examples that I want. That doesn't mean I won't be tempted, but at the moment, I just don't expect to have the powder to really go hard for anything.
Mm-hmm. Eranga, what about you? What are you anticipating for OAX?
Kind of similar, man. It's I don't expect to be like buying a ton of stuff. Frankly, I don't expect to be selling a lot of stuff. Like the whole collector table thing. It's kind of a nice place to kind of take a load off and then talk to your friends, etc., etc. One of the things I anticipate OAX being is absorbing like some of the best parts of Heroes, which is the collector interactions that you get at Heroes, with some of the best parts of Como, which is the low artist to attendee ratio, where you can kind of mix with them. If you can marry those two together, which I think OAX will be, I'm really excited for that aspect of it because it's either one or the other, right? With Heroes, we get to mingle. We have like outside stuff. We have the Abari Bar thing where collectors meet, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, it's still like a full blown convention. There's still comics and whatever, no matter how focused it is on art. But this is absolutely just a singular focus on art. You're kind of shrinking that base down. There's no lines, people waiting in line for entry, et cetera, et cetera. Well, at least I don't think there will be. But you still get the camaraderie and kind of meeting people. There's people there I'm looking forward to seeing that I haven't met before, that don't usually even make the trek to places like Heroes, etc. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And it's kind of neat sharing a table with these two guys, because if they hadn't DM'd me on my OnlyFans, it probably wouldn't have happened.
So how did this come together, where the three of you decided to get a table together and call yourself Team Oreo?
I just literally told you. They DM'd me on OnlyFans.
They've been subscribing so long to your OnlyFans. They made an offer.
But Eranga, you're the resident Como expert. How do the collectors interact there?
It's not. It's a little different. It gets, it's kind of the majority of the people that are there, the collectors that are there. No, Marcus, I did not, and I don't plan to. But the majority of the people that are attending Como are really there to track down art and get signatures and do whatever. And a significant portion of that crowd actually disperses after, especially like when you consider the folks that are there that are European, et cetera, et cetera. So the ones that remain are like smaller and smaller groups that kind of hang out, and we all end up meeting at the Sheraton. So I would say that's the difference. But unlike Heroes, where it seems to be a bit larger, and like people do kind of break and go to lunch together and dinners and go get drinks, and there's that central location at the West End where everyone just kind of seems to congregate.
So Eranga, you have a table at OAX, but you're not there as an artist. You're there as a collector with these guys.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. I kind of wanted to make that distinction, just because, I mean, this is I was a collector before I was an artist, and this is really something that I'm super stoked about, looking forward to. And this is a hangout weekend for me. Not saying that if you drop by, I may draw you a Psylocke on a sketch card, but it'll be a brown Psylocke. Yeah. But no, I don't plan to. I don't plan to cross those streams, if you will. I do that at Heroes.
What if someone offers you $600?
Oh,
yeah.
How gaping do you want it, James? But
hey, Larry, I'll try and
no, really.
Just
to kind of wrap that thought up, is I do both at Heroes. Like, I'm there as an artist, and I see a ton of my collector friends. And I have massive FOMO because they're out there just kind of mingling and having fun and going out to lunch, and I'm freaking stuck behind the table. And that's definitely not something I wanted to be doing here.
Jason, did you have something?
Well, I was just going to try to answer your question about how we decided or what have you. We're buds. So when this first came up, I think we just kind of found out from Bill how many people we could split a table from, and we wanted to do the whole experience. I mean, I don't think any of us are going to have a ton to sell there, right? I don't know about you guys. I haven't even really looked at it yet. But, we just wanted to kind of be on the ground floor with this whole thing and, have a home base and be able to hang out. And, if we sell some art, great. If we trade some art, great. If not, come hang out at the table with us and we'll be there. I think that's the best. I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah, we're going to have swag,
sandwiches,
stickers.
I'm looking
free sandwiches.
You better have some Oreos. That's what I'm saying. You better.
Oh shit!
And speaking of expectations for OAX, I've been guaranteed by the CEO of CAF that the sound system at the auction is going to be way better than the one at Heroes.
Oh, strap in! It better be nothing short of that.
Screaming guy to come. Is he personally invited? The guy who stood up every like 30 seconds and yelled at the entire audience to shut the F up?
That's going to
I
be
hope-
me eventually.
Oh, okay.
James, your setup was a little bit different, right? Because you're setting up with someone you're not that close with, right? How did that come together?
Melchior, he wanted a table. He didn't want to pay the whole amount. And so he asked if we want to split it. Eranga shot me a note. I'm like, dude, I'll do sandwiches in a landing spot in green room. So, man, my entire OEX, I'm just there for social shenanigans. My wife's coming with me. So she's going to meet most of these guys for the first time that I spend way too much time talking to, chatting with. She's, of course, Mikail has hosted us at his lovely house a few times, and that's been fantastic. But, she knows Jason, she knows Larry, she knows Eranga by reputation. And who the hell are you chatting with now? So I would, I'm excited for the opportunity for her to meet you guys in person and just see the wonderful gentleman that you are.
Right.
And Larry.
So James has booth babes at his table. Do you guys have it?
Well, we're still working on that one, but I'll have t-shirts. Hey. Let's see. 56 watching, 11 likes. Get to 50 likes and Eranga wears wig.
Shit. Dude, I searched for my wig before the show so I could put it on, and I can't find it.
He'll wear something from his Psylocke costume for a little bit. Give me that. 50 likes.
What? For the show?
No, like
Well, why is that my responsibility? I'll take my shirt off.
You pull it off, man. You pull it off.
I'll take my shirt off. Just watch everyone just watch that viewership drop. Check it out. It's at 56 right now. It's gonna go down to like 49 in a second.
Yeah, as long as the likes go up. I don't care if the viewers go down. No, just kidding. Hit that button, man. Oh, Melchior. I'm sharing with Brit's comic art, Joseph Melchior. So, yeah, man. I hope to snag all the Quietly pieces before all you guys see them.
All right. James, is there anything else that you want to add? I know there's a lot of thoughts about OEX.
Just overall excitement, man. We've been pumping this up for a while, but it's mostly, again, just to hang out with you guys, meet a lot of people that we know them from just avatars only. Looking down the list of this chat, I mean, there's most of you guys, I'd love to meet you in person, shake your hand, go through the portfolio, see what I can trade and steal. But yeah, man, just social. I mean, it's just social hour.
All right. Any other last thoughts for OAX from anybody else?
I'm excited to see Bill's vision, right? Like he has had a vision for something like this for a long time, and it's exciting to see it come to fruition.
Man, I'm just excited about post-mortem, right? The stories that come out of it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Cosplay in his wet t-shirt contest. Right.
Yeah, I imagine for the first year, I think it'll be a success, but I think by the second and third years when they get to their true vision, and because I'm expecting to improve every year. So, but I think getting in the first year and meeting folks, I think that's going to be a huge thing that's going to probably attract more folks coming next year. So
I gotta say, for a first year,
you're telling your grandkids about this.
For a first year, they've still kind of like knocked it out of the park with what they've got going on. I mean, they'll fine tune and stuff, but they kick the doors down with what they're planning for their first show. All
right. Next segment. So, original art, Secret Santa. So, I think we most of us here have been involved in the Secret Santa. I mean, we have to have a topic about holidays, so this is it. And Mikail, he has the thankless job of arranging like 40 people in the Secret Santa, and that's not a job I would like to do. But what do you guys like and hate about the Secret Santa? I know. To me, Secret Santa is a great thing to do, but it's also work, and that's a part of that reason I hate it, is because I hate to disappoint somebody else because I forgot about it because I was busy doing something else. But otherwise, I mean, I love the reactions for Secret Santa. In fact, the person who got my Secret Santa gift, he loved it. That made me smile. And actually, I have to thank Eranga for helping me out with arranging that Secret Santa gift. But I'm going to go to Mikail first because he's the one who has that huge task in terms of arranging a big Secret Santa with about 30 or 40 collectors. So, what are your thoughts about that?
It's really not that much work. There's apps and websites that'll take care of most of the headache for you nowadays. Um, I love giving a good gift. I love kind of attacking a problem of like, how do you make something interesting? I used to do the Reddit Secret Santas, and that's kind of where the idea came from. And Reddit had, they had to stop eventually. I don't know why, but there were exchanges of all sorts. You could do books, you could do T-shirts, you could do toys, and it would be people all over the world, and there would be really cool individuals who would like step up, and if you didn't get something in the exchange, because that's hundreds and thousands of people. If you ended up getting stiffed, there's people who would like step up and send something to you, even they'd already sent something to their. So I love that aspect of it, and the way we do it in our group is the invite. You have almost a year to get it together. You know who your person is, and you have about 10 months after signing up to and then having access to their calf gallery is like looking into their mind, or at least it should be to my thinking process. So you know what they like, you know what they gravitate towards, you know what they don't have, and it doesn't have to be original art. There's plenty of accessories in the hobby that can be made to work in this way. And as original art collectors, I think we're all used to a higher threshold in terms of price. So, we set a limit of like $200, which is a lot, no doubt about it. But in the grand scheme of this hobby, I think it's pretty manageable. And I've gotten great gifts. What I put into it, I always get back. So I look forward to it every year.
What about you, James? You participated in several Secret Santas.
So I'll be honest. When you initially do the Secret Santa, I'm kind of annoyed, right? Because I'm in work Secret Santas, and I'm in work Secret Santas and family, and I don't spend that much money on my family or my coworkers as I do in this random art Secret Santa. And so part of me is like, man, why did I even sign up? Is it a peer pressure thing? Even though I like, everyone in the group, we do it. Then we go through the process, and because it's original art, and because we're looking at the person we're getting it from, and we see their calf galleries, as Mikail was mentioning, you get a handcrafted item that meshes with their personality, and it's just a wonderful gift. Unexpected gifts. So I posted mine, and I got this little Calvin and Hobbes thing that I was freaking floored. So every year, I start out with, why am I going to spend X number of dollars on these people? I don't even do it for my mom. And then every year I'm like, I'm going to do it again. So that's my honest take.
I think it used to be $100 when I did Secret Santa a couple years ago, and still back then, maybe it was like 5 or 6 years ago. I was like, where am I going to find $100 piece of art? Now that we raised it $200, it's still really hard to find art for $200. But when we had the whole unboxing show with about 20 people, it was amazing. And it's like I thought everything was worth over $200. Everybody put more into it.
I remember you got a piece, Mikail, from, I think Anchor was your Santa. This year was gorgeous. That one kind of knocked our socks off, right?
Likewise with I thought the piece you got was such a great example of fitting the piece to the person. And the piece that Larry gave out, I suggest everyone watching go and check out Tyler's gallery. He posted it today.
Perfect.
It's just so much fun, just so awesome. So yeah, just fun stuff comes out of it. And 90% of the people were able to show up on a Sunday for a Zoom to do a mass unboxing, and I think that's a testament to the the quality of the people and the interest and the camaraderie that exists in the group.
Yeah, you
Because
just
it's
impressed
fun,
me.
right? It's fun getting to see that reaction, especially if you've put like a lot of thought into kind of what you're getting them, and $200 is a nice challenge, like Larry mentioned. Like, you want to sit there if you've got to like get you have all the info on these folks for the most part. A lot of us are friends, a lot of us know each other, et cetera, et cetera. And if not, you just go and jump into the cap gallery. But still trying to find something that fits the spirit within like a $200 budget is a great challenge. And I think if you're like thoughtful and you kind of put some effort into it, there's corners that you can find stuff that works within that budget. And that's the part about it that I really like, kind of accepting, $200, I need to make X person happy. Yeah, I'll take that challenge on every single time. And I'm with James. I don't do Secret Santas anywhere else just because it's hard. It's just a lot of thought you got to put into it. And with Gen Pop, their focus and the stuff they may be interested in, I mean, it's just such a large selection. Whereas here you've got a nice narrow thing here. I give more thoughtful gifts in the Secret Santas we do for
100%.
OA than I do, outside when I have. So it's a really cool thing.
Giving Amazon gift cards in a art Secret Santa is just not the way to go.
Right.
I mean, you can't do it.
And you can get ideas too, right? Like Annika's gift. I was on that website today checking out. That was such a great thing that I didn't even know existed. So
just getting one for myself. Nobody else. I'm not gifting it to anybody else.
Hey, Eranga, so you mean so a lot of people, they commission artists for their Secret Santa. Do you feel that artists, knowing that it's a gift for somebody, that they put a little more effort into them, or they put more than their usual because they know it's going to be a gift?
I can't speak for other artists, obviously. I don't think it makes much of a difference for me unless I actually know that person. Right. If I know the person I'm doing it for, that's a whole different ballgame. But if just random Joe Schmo came to me and said, "Hey, this is for my buddy X," I would put the same level of thought I put into a normal piece.
The one you did was like cover quality, man. It was fantastic.
Tyler's just a good dude. So I mean, there are certain advantages to that. No one else commissioned me for Secret Santa. Screw you guys.
Well, I knew Eranga was going to knock it out of the park. I mean, a mechanical Tyrannosaurus. How do you beat that? Man,
put a monkey on it.
Exactly. All right, Jason. What are your thoughts about Secret Santas? At least art Secret Santas.
Tell me, Jason.
I've done them before. I have dropped out the last year in the big one that you guys are talking about. And I'll be honest, I think that it's great when everybody puts the same level of effort into it. I just think that there's some gaps that don't put the same level of effort in it. And when they get so big, it can be a little disheartening to see that. When I have participated, I've worked hard on what I wanted to do. And, I prefer them when it's a more intimate group than the larger group. Does that kind of make sense what I'm saying?
Oh, that's definitely.
That's fair.
Yeah. I'll be honest, when I do a Secret, and I don't do it every year, I maybe do it once every 3 or 4 years, I set my expectations low. I'm like, I'll try to give a really nice gift to somebody, and I'm probably going to get, for $200, I'll probably get something like 9x12, and I don't even collect 9x12 art, but whatever. It's all in the spirit. And next thing I know, in the mail, I got 11x17 art of my favorite character. So really works out. And Mikail has already started Secret Santa for 2024. Even though, I was going to
say, he gives us a lot of time to get it set, right?
We did the same thing last year. You have a ton of time if you want to commission somebody or think about it or find something. We get a lot of time to do it. So if you are going to put the thought into it, you have the time.
Okay.
Hey, Jason, how big is that Art Adams Rogue that Larry has? Is it around 9 by
It's
12?
less than 9 by 12. I know. It
You
should
guys
be
always
my
bring that
house.
up.
All right.
All right, there are always exceptions. All right, we'll go ahead and move on. And so now we're going into this. This is one of the mini games. I say it's buy or sell market, where we talk about certain artists and certain titles, and where we say, do we think it's a buy or sell market? So here, I'm going to start and say, oh, thanks, Steven.
Sexy, no sexy.
That's right. So Rob Liefeld, New Mutants. We've all seen the fluctuations that are on Heritage. So, Jason, I'm gonna send this question to you: is it a buy or sell market for Rob Liefeld, New Mutants?
That is honestly, I'm a mutant guy, right? We all know this. I think that's not a secret. Right. That's the most hardest market to really nail down what is up and what is down. I mean, it's all over the place. So I honestly, if I had to pick buy or sell in the Liefeld New Mutants market, and we're talking vintage, right, Larry? We're not talking that, when he came back recently or whatever. We're talking vintage, right?
That's right.
If I holding a lot of New Mutants right now, I'd be selling them. I'd be selling.
Oh, okay.
I think the market is high. I think that it's somewhat artificially inflated, and I think now would be the time to move it rather than trying to be out there looking for a piece.
James, any reaction to what the?
I'm gonna be terrible at this game because being an addict, I'm just gonna buy them.
All right,
just gonna buy whatever you have. I'm just gonna buy it. So no, I have no nuanced opinion, huh?
So if it's obtainable and you see it's probably below market, okay. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts on this in terms of the Rob Liefeld New Mutants market?
Okay. So it's a hard one to get your hands around, man. I mean, I think there's more than I kind of know what's coming out, but more than anything else, like there's what's your connection to it attached as well. But like Jason said, I've seen so much variation in what's going on in those pages. I kind of don't have an answer. If I did own one, which I don't, I would probably hold.
Okay. I'm saying the Liefeld pages, I think, have exceeded expectations on all the auction sites, right? That we've seen on both Comic Link, Comic Connect, and HA. I mean, I think they've been exceeding expectations across the board for a bit.
Especially the cap. Well, that's not a Mutants, but
yeah. That one was pop. It's ingrained in the pop culture, so I got that one. But every Liefeld auction, I throw a few bids on there, expecting to get within the realm of possibility, and I've been shut out, man.
All right. Well, next one is Wolf Potashio X-Men. Eranga, since you recently obtained a really nice Wolf Potashio Bishop page,
it's eating. It's buy, baby. Buy.
So my offer is coming in your calf.
Buy. I really feel there's not a whole lot of it out there, and you're talking specifically about Uncanny, right?
Yeah, the vintage 90s. Yeah, or even X Factor, or even I'll say Witch Potashio X Factor as well too.
Yeah, I don't have as much of a feel for X Factor, but I think it all kind of falls in the same bucket because I don't see as many people sending their Will stuff to auction as I do Jim Lee. I mean, that might be heresy, but you see a Jim Lee page or two at every Heritage or Comic Link. It seems like you just don't see a lot of Wills out there. And I was joking about buy, but on the back of that DPS sale, I mean, if you have some nice Will stuff, especially Uncanny, why wouldn't you be testing the market now on the back of that?
Eranga, you make a great point. And somebody else brought that up to me about Silvestri. It's the same as Wills, right? You rarely see them available. You can see a Jim Lee page every single auction. But finding decent Silvestri or Portaccio pages is much more difficult. And I agree with you. if the opportunity presents itself for Portaccio stuff right now, I'd be a buyer myself. Especially before that DPS sale. I think that we'll see how it looks after the DPS sale, but
Yeah.
It kind of really turned things upside down, right? I mean, you just never know how people, evaluate their own stuff. But there were a couple of things tagged onto that DPS, especially with the language about some might consider this to be the first full. Some might. When the fuck have you ever heard like an auction house say some might consider? Like, you're looking for an absolute. But anyway, there was some stuff. There was some things attached to that skewed that result. But I personally, I'm in a buy mode. But if you are, kind of one of those people that follows it, there's a little bit of a heat index thing coming here with that result, which might not be around 6 months from now.
Okay.
Yep.
You think Will's Portaccio market is heating up, right?
With the attention it's getting specifically for that. I mean, you can't not notice 100K DPS sale, right? Like, I mean, it's just that's not a Jim Lee or the usual suspects. It's kind of an interesting result. So if you're into like just kind of touching the zeitgeist and heat index and all that stuff, if we had a Wizard magazine out today, like Wills would be kind of up there on the top 10 list based on this auction price. So
good analogy.
now,
And I'm only like a Dazzler level X-Men art collector and observer, but there's way more Silvestri than there is Wilts. I mean, there's always a couple pages floating around. There were a couple good ones in the comic link that I was bidding on up to a certain level. I love that Outback action. I mean, there are great pages, but with the Wilts, yeah, I agree with Eranga. You just don't see it as often, and the opposite holds true for Jim Lee, which is probably why it's being used as a currency now, because it's so established and everybody knows there's demand and it's been raised up to this certain level that people just think of them as bonds now. Whereas the people who have the Wilts pages, I think, are deeply into them. So,
go ahead, Larry.
No, I'm thinking there's probably a handful of collectors who probably have like 20 pages of Wilts, but they're really attached to their Wilts X-Men pages, and they're not ready to let it go. But I guess when they do let it go, it's probably going to go for really good prices.
I think, I mean, if you look at, markets, one of the biggest emerging market, of course, is the Asian side, right? And he has a huge, Asian following. And so, as they, bring more money and increase the demand for Wills art, you're going to see prices rise.
You saying Crazy Rich Asians, James? Is that where you're going?
Crazy Rich Asians.
No, but that's actually a really great point, man. There's a reverence. There's a reverence for Wills, kind of stemming from, being
Singapore,
that guy.
Philippines area.
Yeah. That's a really it's a really great point. And the people that hold his art or own his art, like, love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to the guy who's got that cover of First Appearance of Bishop. I'm trying to convince him to bring it to OAX, but it's not going to happen.
And by the way, for the folks, the first appearance of Bishop is 282, not 283. I don't want to hear anything what the CBC folks say. 282 is his face is on the cover, his whole body is on the cover.
He's on the fucking cover, and he's a full page splash on the last page. Like, get out of here! Get out of here! Comic speculators, leave the room.
I think the Heritage Hammer made my point on that.
All right. Next one, and James, I think you're the best one for this. What about Jim Lee X-Men? I mean, we've seen people actually buy from Heritage and try to sell in comic, and we saw how that turned out.
Yeah, man. I'm not going to say first I'm the expert on anything. 100% no. I think there's a differentiation in quality where the quality pieces are still hitting some astronomical highs. But the kind of the market of I just need to buy a Jim Lee piece has shifted a little bit over the past few years, where because of, again, supply and demand, before you couldn't go out and find a Jim Lee X-Men no matter what. No one was letting them go. now, I mean, Comic Connect, I thought had a killer deal on an uncanny Jim Lee piece for like $7,500. That was unheard of, right?
Mhm.
But then you go and you see some of the nicer examples, and they just still reach stratospheric, reach really, really high, and go for beyond expectations. So, just a diversification and maturation of the Jim Lee market.
Okay. Any hold on. Let's I'm gonna put this up.
Oh man, those have been on fire. And blame me for one of them, but yeah.
Yeah. Jason, you agree about Alan Davis Excalibur?
Yet.
So Davis Excalibur, it's near and dear to my heart, Larry. It's near and dear to your heart too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it has been pretty on fire. I do think there's a line in the sand though. The early pieces versus the pages that are coming out later, there's a big difference in pricing with that. But yeah, Davis has definitely jumped up considerably from where it was. Gary Land flooded the market a little bit a couple years ago, and it was able to absorb it all, but it didn't create the increased prices because of that flooding of the market.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think they're drying up a little bit, that the demand is there, and the primo pieces are getting glommed up. I know, I have a page from Excalibur 1, I have a page from Excalibur Special Edition, and I get hit up on those two pages probably more often than my Jim Lee or my Portacio or the other stuff that we're talking about as the hotter stuff now.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, all the pages are out there. Alan pretty much has none of the early, none of the pages from those early issues. So they're all out in the wild. So.
Yeah.
All right.
But Larry, just a quick caveat, right? Well, forget the buy or sell market when we talk about it. It really depends. I mean, we're seeing examples of this weekly, if not monthly. It really depends on the platform you're looking at as well, right? I mean, Heritage seems to be, for the most part, unaffected by dips, or occasionally here or there, but it really seems to depend on where you're listing it and where these pieces are going. I'm not trying to endorse or poo-poo, one platform versus another, but there does seem to be a really visible kind of effect on where it's listed.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I was going to make that about Jim Lee, because specifically to Jim Lee, there were buying opportunities, like James mentioned, one on Comic Connect, and there was a couple pages on Comic Link last time that went under what I think they would have gone in Heritage. There's a big distinction in that Jim Lee market when you're buying at Heritage and you're buying at the smaller auction houses. And I think that ties back to what James and Larry said about the Wilts. I think that the foreign markets are not as willing to bid up in Comic Link or Comic Connect as they are in Heritage, and that just broadens the buyer base and creates that difference in pricing for Jim Lee specifically, and probably Wilts too. We saw more pieces.
Yeah.
Would you also say that the dealers look at Heritage the most?
I think
they're gonna look at where it sold the highest at.
Right.
I mean, it's there's a built-in bias to that, except when they're buying.
No, when they're buying. I'm talking about buying, not pricing. I'm talking about, I feel like all of the larger dealers look at everything on Heritage, but that doesn't necessarily hold true for the other auction houses.
That's true. That's a good point. But though, if they were smart, wouldn't you say? If I understand you correctly, right? You're talking about you as a collector, you're going to a dealer to sell. Is that kind of where you're?
No, I'm saying when the dealers are scoping the auction offerings to make sure that nothing slips by, everything at Heritage gets a look. So if there's anything that looks like it's going to go low, they are there to pick it up.
Sure. Yeah.
Kyle, this is going to sound terrible, but I also think it has to do with the fact that Heritage results are so searchable. The dealers aren't going to let something go low on Heritage because that's going to be there forever, that price mark. If it goes low on Comic, no one can search it. So it may be a price if we go dig for it or about it, but to go try and find a comp for it, it's impossible.
Hmm.
Michael, I feel like there's an ulterior motive here.
Does Mike
Um,
have some Alpha Flight for sale?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. But he's like number one Puck fan. Like I don't know why he just doesn't rename himself on CAF.
He's a number one what?
Puck fan.
Puck.
Oh,
I just got a nice puck piece.
okay.
Puck that noise.
Mikail, I'm gonna go to you. Sandman pages. Where are Sandman pages now? Is it a good time to buy them, or is it do I wait for a season 2? What's going on?
No,
What should I do?
I think that the markets
Mhm.
pages is relatively like the TV show isn't having any effect on the buyers who want these pages. They've wanted them anyways, well before the TV show. Um, I don't. I think there's Neil Gaiman Heritage/Neil Gaiman recently announced that he's letting go of some of his personal art in the upcoming signatures as well. I think that there'll be some Sandman in there. There was an influx of Sandman pages into Heritage from another source, and so there's opportunities to acquire them.
Mhm.
Um, I think they're always going to be valued, and the good pages are going to command good prices. And if you, I recently let go of a Kelly Jones page,
Mhm.
only because I had another example, and the market was where it made sense for me to kind of turn that into another piece of art. But if you wait on a Sandman page, it's just going to get more expensive.
Mikhail, so you're
So
saying it's like less susceptible to like speculators because the existing fan base is already so strong?
yes, and because even though there were a couple of weeks where Sandman was the number one show and everyone was watching it, I really don't think it sparked interest in chasing the pages at these prices. If a page has Death on it, if it has Morpheus on it, there's this added tax on it that drives it super high. The early pages, the Constantine pages, they're all going for really solid figures. So um, all these Death Eighth pages that have been showing up have been 60 to 90K very consistently. Um, yeah, if you're willing to sell it, call me. And if you want to buy them, just buy them when you see the one that you want.
Mhm. So, Mikail, you're thinking that regardless if there was a TV show, a Sandman 8 page would still hit close to six figures, regardless.
Or yeah, I mean, depending on what, like,
Mhm.
there was a page without Death on it from 8,
Hmm.
um, in which, that went for 14K. Um, it's an interesting page to look at because it's from a signature issue. A signature issue where other pages are going for 60 to 90K,
Mhm.
but it didn't have any of the main characters on it. So, I think it was pretty much the right price. It could have gone for 20 and I wouldn't have been surprised. If it had gone for more than that, I would have. Um, but there's always buyers, and there's the stories we hear are that there's so many of these pages in the hands of non-comic art collectors.
Mhm.
Um, they're creative types, directors, film directors, or musicians who read it and loved it and just picked up pages early on, and they're beloved by their owners. So
Mhm.
I think the market's just going to stay, and there's such a variety of artists that have worked on these pages. So there's a natural progression of what's considered valuable, but then there's enough collectors who are like who want the Hempel stuff. So that anything by Mark Hempel, they'll be there to pick it up. There's people who want the early Dringenberg stuff, so they'll be there to pick it up. Um, yeah, it's a solid, steady
Mhm.
market, and it's really hard to break into outside of the auction houses. Something comes up for auction, obviously it's up for anyone, but if you want to kind of dig out a page or find a page from someone who has it, good luck. They'll always try and sell you unpublished stuff or ancillary pages. And didn't Dave Mandel in the recent Felix podcast, he said he's letting go of some Bacalo death pages or a death page, so or a death poster, I think. So
it's like
that'll be
death pinup, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one to watch. But yeah, it's a solid market.
Would you say though that maybe the show hasn't affected prices, but you're now seeing more art from Sandman than at any time before the show? I mean, you probably been look. I rarely see a Sandman page before the show came up. Now there's one almost in every auction.
Yeah, I think there was a corollary shaking loose effect for sure.
I think that has more to do with the price. Realized personally, I mean,
it goes hand in hand, right? You had the COVID bump, the show coming out, and the time factor, right? We're now 30 years from when it was kind of being released. That's the natural cycle. There's a collector who's had it 30 years. They're older, they're ready to let go. So I think things are moving in that direction.
It also speaks to kind of like the universal appeal of Gaiman's work, right? It's one of those titles that's not necessarily just pigeonholed to comics. It's amazing how many people who don't read comics in general have that affinity for Sandman, regardless, well before the show or any conversation about that came in. Gaiman's like mass appeal to just in general, like his female audiences, whatever. He cracked the code with Sandman, I think. Would you say you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the Gaiman fans. The Good Omens graphic novel on Kickstarter raised $3 million. That's a tremendous achievement, and I think it's the show has its own fans. You guys all went to cons. You saw how the main characters, were embraced by the cosplay community and by the some of the marginalized communities that we generally see. They really embrace their message of getting along, and so yeah, I think there's great love for his work, and the fact also that Neil Gaiman knows his artists. He handpicked and worked with all of them as Sandman was being created and developed. So the work reflects that. He picked the best artists for the job, and you've got Charles Vess doing a monthly comic. The work's really incredible. So I think it's very much in demand and will continue to be.
All right. So we got one more segment. We're going to go into what I call the game show, and that is the three-way throwdown.
Whoa.
Hey, hold on.
All right, so the game
Team Oreo was saving that for OAX, Larry.
Yeah. I didn't realize this was going on tonight.
All right, so the game is you're going to be shown 3 pieces of art, and you're going to decide which one is the one that you would take. So let's see. All right, Jason, we'll start with you.
Cool.
It is not sharing for some reason.
Bro.
I had this my Sandman piece right next to me.
Yeah, add it to stage. You want me to try to add it to stage? I see the graphic.
Oh, you do? I don't.
James is always angling for a sale.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, okay.
It was like,
there you go.
Man.
You know what? I was in the speaker mode. I had to change my layout. Good. Thanks a lot, Jason. Wow, you're so much better at this than I am. All right, Jason.
So you want me to pick from these which one I would want?
Yeah, you got a certain amount of money. You can't afford all 3. Which one would you want?
I would take the X-Men 200 cover.
the X-Men 200. Why would you take the X-Men 200 cover? I mean, that's over Cockrum and John Romita Jr. Oh, actually, they're both John Romita Jr.
They're both Ramitas, right? So that Ramita's much more in my nostalgia zone than Cockrum, right? And I'm not a huge Cockrum fan. I appreciate him. I also just really, as much as I like Juggernaut, I just don't really like the layout of that splash. You know, I think I talked to some people about this when it was coming up. The Crying Storm and the Colossus being, you know, the back of him being a large portion of that page kind of turns me off. The 200 cover just sticks in my mind more than the 177 cover. And you know, I saw both the 200 and 177 in person, and the 177 just has a ton of whiteout. It's just not the prettiest cover in person. And if I was gonna like any of these three pieces would be the grail in my collection. Right? I'm not buying any of these at any time. The 200 is the one I would want on the wall the most, and that's why I would pick them.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, I'm really surprised you said that because I didn't think the 200. Man, I remember 200, but I'm also not a fan of let's say good guy Magneto. So I'm not a fan of that costume with Magneto. I know this is kind of where he, you know, beginning of where he changes back, but the 177 has a nice Wolverine there, and you know, I love the Cockrum layup. So, James, how do you respond? What would your pick be?
Oh, well, you know, me and Jason can't ever agree on anything, so I'd probably pick the 200 cover. No, I mean, yeah, I love the big Wolverine. You know, partially the Wolverine. I'm a huge fan of Juggernaut. Hey, Wolverine Juggernaut. But you know, I mean, you know, it was a good element on the story side. It has multiple characters on it. It presents very, very well. Yeah, I would, you know, for the money, I'd go with the 200 cover. So we agree, Jason.
I thought we were all getting three separate covers, three different covers to pick from. I didn't realize we were doing sloppy seconds and thirds. So
and to me, I mean,
so Jay, this is like, so you would what? Marry?
Kill
the Juggernaut splash.
And I mean,
and wine and dine 177.
The funny part is we all know who got the 177, so he's probably gonna be mad at us that we're beating it up.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. It presents very, very well, and I don't even notice the whiteout at all.
I don't think this is an easy choice. I mean, this is why I kind of bring up, you know, the all three and see which one you guys would prefer. Eranga, did you have any preference?
I think I'd go with 177. It's a, you know, it's a bold image. It's not overly busy. It's got the circular design element to it with the bricks in there. Artistically, I kind of like that one. That one the best. It's a coin flip over the other two.
My speculator side knows that the Magneto with the M is going to be on the X-Men 97 cartoon. So I think it's going to be a lot more popular if they run through that story.
Right. Mikail, do you have any thoughts?
I would agree with Eranga. I'd probably go with 177 just because I'm for me personally, I'm pretty picky about busier artwork. Like it has to be arranged in a particular way to kind of mesh with my sensibility. If I think about, you know, they're all pretty dark. If I think about one of these on the wall, it's definitely not in any family space. It's, you know, it's going to have to be in the den or the study. So, but yeah, I do like the surprisingly, I like the 177 more than the Cockrum splash.
Okay. I mean, I would take the splash just because, I mean, I remember 102 and yeah, sure. I would prefer the cover, but I mean, I love the splash, and of these three, obviously the splash is worth the least of them, but hey, really? I mean, I love this all Cockrum, and I love the inks on this. So that's just me.
Yeah, but that's a great thing, right? We're not talking about what we can afford and what each one is worth. It's just what our sensibilities are.
Larry, send me any of the three. I'm not going to be unhappy. Ask which one I would prefer.
All right. So next one, Eranga, this is yours. So you got a Barry Windsor Smith Conan, you have a Steve Ditko Spider-Man, and you have a Jim Lee Batman. Which one?
What is that? What is that first piece? Is that BWS?
Yep.
Yes, that's a Barry Windsor Smith Conan Saga #2 painted cover.
Man, again, I'm gonna have to. Shit, I'm gonna have to go with the Jim Lee Batman, man. It hurts my heart to say. Just I'm gonna pick these like purely from what appeals to me artistically, and I'll tell you like if that like if it were alone, if it was a solo thing, that Jim Lee Batman piece wouldn't appeal to me. But in the three here, the coloring on the BWS, which it feels like being picky is crazy, but it just doesn't present as well to me. The Ditko Spider-Man, I mean, from a historical perspective, I have all the appreciation in the world for it. It doesn't really kind of appeal to me because I wasn't, I mean, yeah, I get it. I've read the Ditko Spider-Man stuff after the fact, but it doesn't really hold any connection to me. I actually read Jim Lee's Batman issues, and I like that image. So yeah, that's what it would come down to me. That would come down forward to me.
All right, Mikail, which one would you take?
I take the Ditko, just because it's an interesting story moment, which is something that I tend to gravitate towards. But honestly speaking, none of these three just is not for me. Like these are not in my wheelhouse.
Sure. Okay. Jason, did you have any preference? I know this is outside of your wheelhouse also.
Yeah, this is a little outside of my wheelhouse too, but honestly, if I was choosing, my brain says I want the Ditko because of the historical relevance of it, but my heart tells me to grab the Smith, right? Because I think if I'm grabbing something that's not in my main focus, I want what's pretty, and that Barry Windsor Smith is, I understand. I never looked at the colors the way, Eranga just threw me off a little bit with the way the colors present there, but BWS painted, that's coming home with me, I think, of these three. It's definitely not bad.
What if I added the value now it says you can buy one of these, but the value of the Batman is actually twice as much as the other two. Would you go for the Batman?
So I don't even know what the prices on these were, so that had really no bearing whatsoever on it. You could have told that Batman was the most expensive to begin with. I'm taking, assuming like I can't flip it. So which one do I want to keep around my house the longest? Is the Barry Windsor.
Got it. Okay.
Which one can I swap for a Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X page is probably how I would think about it.
That's where my brain goes right away. You know that already.
Well, the Batman actually sold for $72,000. So that one you could probably get a page from Weapon X. Probably not a panel, not a splash page, but a panel page. So, all right. James, did you have any preference?
Assuming since you already said the pricing, I feel like a damn money grubber. But I wouldn't want Batman. Colors on the Barry Windsor Smith are gorgeous, but I want my Conan stabbing something. There's no Spider-Man on the Ditko, and the Jim Lee Batman's classic.
Okay. All right. Next one. I'm going to go to you,
Why does Larry ever have to make these hard decisions?
The last one I would have gone with the Ditko. That's just me. I mean, I have more. That's where it appeals to me most. So, Mikail, you're the one with the panel pages. So you have a Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing, and you have a Mike Dridgenberg Sandman, like issue 20, and you have a Frank Miller Daredevil.
Ooh,
I love all of these, and but I go for the Wrightson.
Go for the Wrightson.
Just thinking about my collection holistically and kind of what I don't have yet. Look at that. Even though Swamp Thing's in a couple panels, look at that middle panel. Like that is just awesome. And but yeah, I mean, I really like all three of these. This is for me easily the hardest choice you've presented so far.
Okay. James, which one would you think?
Daredevil. It's not
Okay.
even it's not even difficult at all because I have no
Mhm.
nostalgic ties to the other two.
Okay.
And it has ninjas and fighting and Daredevil. So
Mhm.
my base instincts on this one.
All right, Eranga, what about you?
Man, artistically, it's gotta be the Wrightson.
Mhm.
Even though I have like zero nostalgia for Swamp Thing or that arc, but my heart would take me to Daredevil.
Okay.
Follow your heart, man.
All right. And Jason?
So I'll tell you all a secret now. I actually secretly covet a Wrightson page, so the Swamp Thing could be going into my ownership in this
Mhm.
group. The Daredevil, obviously, from a nostalgic standpoint, that's a story I read, a story I enjoyed. I'm just not that big of a Frank Miller fan overall. I'd much rather add the rights into the permanent collection and just never have to think about finding one again.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep your love secret anymore, Jason. Just let it out, man.
Yeah.
It's out there, buddy.
But just for out of pure, and this is why I like this game. This is why I thought about the game. Is that you guys are thinking about the pages, which ones you're attached to, but you don't know actually what the values of these are. So the values of the Sandman page and the rights, and they're about this. They're similar. They're about 20,000. The Daredevil is about 45,000. Just because I think it's a lot
We
of
win,
people
Eranga.
nostalgia on that Daredevil page. But I would agree the folks to say that the Swamp Thing is just gorgeous. But I
Yeah.
think the folks who grew up in the 80s and was reading Daredevil, they love, they adore the Frank Miller Daredevil, and they pay top dollars for it. And finding Daredevil fighting ninjas, I mean, that's the dream. I mean, the only thing that's missing is either like Bullseye or Elektra. But I like this game because it actually, like, you guys are choosing it without even disregard with any of the value of what things are.
So if it was Wolverine fighting ninjas by Frank Miller, I would have went to that one, Larry.
Oh, absolutely. It would have went for 100K too.
More.
All right, James, you have the next one. So, which one would you choose?
Oh, the cap. Oh no, there's Calvin Hobbs. You son of a bitch. First of all, DC. I mean, Dark Knight. Get that out of there. So I need 100% Calvin and Hobbes. Massive nostalgia. It's the only comic property that I may like better than X-Men. So that one's easy.
Even though the Frank Miller's is worth twice as much as the Calvin Hobbes.
Oh,
Hey, this is not about
is that who did that one?
I know.
No, I'm just kidding.
You
yeah,
knew that.
Don't care. Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, don't care. Calvin and
All right.
Hobbes all the way. That's my final answer. Lock it down.
So, would any of you take the Frank Miller out of all these three?
I mean, I'd take them all.
I would take the cap. I mean, I'm not even gonna like sit here and.
I like it.
I wouldn't sit here and bullshit.
If it wasn't Calvin and Hobbes, I would have taken the cap.
If it was something I wanted in my collection, it would be that. It would be the cap. I mean,
Me too.
That's the game.
Yeah,
I'd want big titty cap.
This cap, everybody recognizes it. They're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that one before."
Oh, I mean, it would be the cornerstone of your collection. I mean, people have some Dark Knights out there. People have Calvin and Hobbes, which I would take anyway. But if you had that cap, you've got pop culture. You got a pop culture icon.
The image that launched like a million memes.
Yeah.
So
tell me if Dark Knight did that.
So there are some Dark Knight images I would take over the cap.
Right.
Not that one.
All right.
Who's got the echo?
I would take the Dark Knight over the cap.
Boo.
But would you
Just-
take it over the
you know,
Calvin Hobbes too?
Maybe. You know, I noticed this when this image came up, I looked at it and appreciated it more than I generally do Miller's work. I think it's really interesting. It's very stark. And I love how Carrie's in the light and, you know, Batman's dark. And it's a nice example without paying the full freight for, you know, one of the actual pages.
Yeah, for me on a personal collection, like if I had the cap or the Dark Knight, I'd still want a Calvin and Hobbes. If I had the Calvin and Hobbes, I'd be like, eh.
You would have opportunities to get another Frank Miller Batman. Maybe not a splash or a pinup, but the Calvin and Hobbes are very few in between, and obviously the Cap is a one of a kind.
Yeah, that's in a whole nother level.
The thing is, I would push for a strip then. I would want a strip.
Hey, is there a prelim of that Cap page out there that I can buy?
Yeah, I think so. All right. Oh, we're just going to do one more just for fun because let's see. I'll go with you, James, since I know the last one was kind of a joke. I knew which one you would take, but here you have a Golden Age Captain America page, a Frank Miller heavy metal cover, and a Jim Lee cover.
Can I answer for James?
Yeah, go ahead.
He's gonna take the top.
We all know what James is taking.
I mean, I like form and figure.
Right. All right.
Next.
Which one are you taking? It's a Golden Age Cap page. By the way.
Sorry, did you say me?
Yeah.
I would take the Miller too, man, all day long.
Okay.
Just because it's a nice image, man. It's a great representative image of kind of when I really liked his style.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you go, Larry. I'll let you borrow my Slido login next time.
Ooh, yeah, that's what I was just about to make that recommendation to Larry, man. Like, you should, when you do this next on a show, or if you do this, you should let the audience kind of vote.
Okay.
As well.
I'm working towards that. My only concern is that
it
might bog down my computer if I do slight.
Yeah, I'll manage it for you behind the scenes.
Okay. All right. Polling. I mean, do you find this game fun? I could try.
Oh, it's great.
Okay.
It's the best thing you've ever done.
Ever.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here.
Jason, is there you choosing the middle one too, or are you going for either like?
No, I'm going to take the Cap page in this one just from a purely historical thing. Like, it'd be unbelievable. I think there's so few of those pages in existence, and I would love to own one.
That is a Captain America #4 page, so it's really old, and all of these pieces, they're all like the same. They all hammered at the same price, around the same. Like they're all three of them hit the 20,000 mark.
Gotcha. I'm a Gen 13 Caitlin fan. I like my redheads too, but
right.
I've got my piece of her like the Frank Miller, so we're good.
All right. Well, we'll ask Mikail, which one of these would you take?
I honestly, I don't. None of them really tickles my wallet, but yeah. The Cap page is cool, like you said, historical. I'm amazed that I've picked Frank Miller twice in a row. I generally am not a fan. I think this is a really cool image, though.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's marker or.
I don't think it's marker, man.
I don't think it's marker. Yeah.
I think Matt Kennedy mentioned it as well. I don't think that's marker.
Right.
I mean, how old is it? So fading.
I would probably, pick the Miller, but that's just, if I had to choose.
Okay. All right. So I think it's only me and Jason who would take the Cap #4 page, but everybody else are perverts. Okay. All right.
One of them is at least.
Larry, I've seen the memes you posted in that chat. You better not start calling people out.
Yeah, Larry, you better not get too. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, guys,
what's your Instagram follow list?
This is pretty much the end of the show. Actually, I'll just go ahead and do it. Just one sentence. What kind of 2024 goals do you guys have? Mikail, we'll start with you.
Oh, easy. Avoid bankruptcy. That's the goal.
He got his grail beginning of the year, and it's all downhill from there.
It is, honestly, it's going to be. I really feel fortunate. I'm in a super happy place with my collection. I may get a couple more mystery sketches at Comic Art Live, but yeah, it's going to be a low key year for me.
Okay, Jason, what about you?
I want to have fun in 24, and I'm in a similar place as Mikail. Like, I'm pretty happy with my collection and what I have, and I don't want to be stressed about how I'm going to pay for something when I overstretch. So I really just want to have fun with the hobby, continue to pick stuff up that touches me, tickles me, and not worry as much.
All right. Eranga?
I hate my collection. I want to burn it to the ground. So there'll be a lot of selling.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. It's I really like where my collection's heading. More than any of these guys. Like I'm newer to the hobby, I would say, like in this group. I've the feeling I've got when I've hit that target or that nostalgic thing, like it's one I'm kind of looking to recreate. So less of buying example pieces, if you will, and more of passing on the example pieces and saving that money to buy the piece, if you will, supplemented with more commission work from lesser known artists that I wanna support, that do fun work. I want to continue doing that. I want to continue being a good patron of the arts. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
I do commissions now too. Hey, look.
Is that the one that you were selling on Dueling Dealers?
No, this
They look very similar. Were you selling a photocopy on Dueling Dealers?
Okay. I'll give
It's
you
called a
175 for that.
stat.
Oh, the stat. I'm sorry. I told you I'm kind of newer to the hobby, Mikail. I don't know all the fancy terminologies. So the one you were selling
We'll bring you up to speed at OAX then.
on Dueling Dealers was a stat. This is the original. Got it.
Okay. All
Hey,
right.
you got a question in the audience.
Example pieces. Oh, like let's say I loved a certain artist and I'm like, okay, I just want a piece from that artist that I can kind of put in my gallery and say, hey, I've got X from that artist. In the past, I've been susceptible to that, but rather than just go for anything from the artist that I want or that I don't have in my collection, saving that money up and going for like that one piece when it shows up.
Okay. All right, James. What are your goals?
I mean, nothing's changing from 2023 except maybe velocity. Kind of keep that 80s and 90s mutant focus and just see what shows up. One of my goals is to see some of them FedEx boxes you got that you keep hiding from us.
Oh, I saw it.
James, would you liquidate it all for Calvin and Hobbes?
The right one, yeah. That Sunday that Jelly has, sure.
We liquidate it all?
For
that's what
Sunday?
it would cost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that we're talking about a literally a museum quality piece. Yeah.
But it means something to you as well. It's not just hey, it's a museum quality piece. Hey, this is something.
No. I mean, that's not to go into too much, but Calvin Hobbes is what I read.
Right.
I remember 6th grade. I put on a damn play for that poem. I still remember the poem. It was one of the books had the monster on the bed, right? It had all the props and everything. It was my comic book until I discovered, I had random X-Men issues. We never did sequential X-Men because, funds, I didn't have the funds for sequential reading. And then the cartoon came around and, my entire comic world was kind of changed with the cartoon. But it's always been, I always got those Calvin and Hobbes, thick books or trade paperbacks and tore them up, man. Tore them up more than anything else I've ever read.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't know that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be really expensive to get it from Joe or any Sunday.
Oh no, I'm not hitting up Joe. I'm just saying, that I just remember that one. That was gorgeous, and the watercolors and everything were beautiful. But I wouldn't do it for a daily though. I would,
do it for
I don't think I have the fortitude to go through the process of selling what would need to sell for it, unless it was one of those dailies, right? And one of the greatest things I was able to see is when Bill invited us all to Columbus, Ohio, and we went through the Ohio State Museum. I saw the last, Calvin and Hobbes and a lot of the first ones too. And yeah, it gets emotional seeing art, but it was emotional.
I'm tearing up listening to you, man. I love to hear the passion.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Okay.
I have no frame of reference for what these cost. Like, give me an example.
There's no frame of I know Joe's piece back in the day was like 250,000. That was a number of years ago. And that's when daily strips were selling for like 15, 20. Now dailies are selling, almost six figures. So there's only been what, 2 on HA ever?
Yeah, I spoke with Joe and somebody else from the illustration house, and we think there are about less than 10 in a while, less than 10 Sundays.
I would say 600-700K.
Yeah,
$1 million.
You're not going to have to liquidate your entire collection for that, James. You have a badass collection. Yeah.
A lot of people want that Juggernaut splash.
Yeah. Hey, straight up trade. Anyone who's watching.
Right.
One, Adam
Would you
Kubert
give
Juggernaut
that worn ass T-shirt along with it?
Oh,
game worn Juggernaut Wolverine T-shirt.
100%. And by the way, I wore, it's like somebody showed me this picture online of that. I was like, I gotta buy that shirt. And I'd even throw an awesome Pip the Troll pinup that I just picked up.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
What about you, Larry?
Oh, my job is to stay married. So
listen, we all thought you were gonna slow down after you didn't necessarily slow down.
I gotta start. I gotta do it. So
I'm not talking outside of school here, but I haven't seen really any slowdown from you, Larry. Does wifey just not know what's going on? Tell us, Larry. Tell everybody here who's watching. There's how many people? 53 people. Mm-hmm. Does Linda know what you're up to right now?
She knows, yeah.
So where are the FedEx boxes now, Larry?
Hey, is she coming to OAX, Larry?
No, unfortunately not. So, but I'll bring her to a con eventually. So, but no, I mean I don't really have any specific goals, but I'm trying to be more disciplined. So I'm only going to go after it if I really want it. I'm gonna have to talk myself out of buying something, but if I can't do it, I'm probably gonna have to pull a trigger here or there. So,
real quick,
no specific goals.
We're at 12 likes. Get to 25, and Larry will post a piece on calf. He hasn't done it in a long ass time.
12 likes. That sucks.
Really? 12 likes?
No, we're at 43 likes. What are you talking about?
Larry's got to post something.
Yeah, I'm gonna give us one thumbs down. I'm gonna give us one thumbs down. There you go.
No.
Okay, don't do that. Okay.
No, 40. All right, 7. We get 2 more. We'll do 2 more, and Larry has to post a piece on calf.
Oh, I'll post a couple. I mean, it's end of the year. I got some things I need to post. I need to get my scanner reconnected. I think I'm just too lazy to do that part. So
call tech support.
Really? That's the problem for you? You're our tech support.
Reconnecting the scanner.
Yeah.
All right. Well, pour a little out to our fallen comrade Fish, and appreciate it, man.
Feel better, Fish.
Feel better, Fish.
All right, guys. Well, have a happy holidays, and I'll see you. I'll have another collector's conversation next year in January, and hope everybody has just have a great rest of the year, and nobody has to stress out about art or anything like that, and just start the new year and enjoy ourselves at OAX.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be fun.
Thanks to my guests for joining me. And hope to bring them again for a future show. So
thanks for having us on, Larry.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Larry.
Thanks to everyone in the chat. Happy holidays.
Bye.
Happy holidays, guys. Team Oreo all the way.